What I'm going to tell you today, chosen ones, may evoke strong memories in you. It's not a coincidence that you're viewing this at this moment. God has a purpose for bringing you here. Something that has been with you from the start is something strong that you must comprehend. I want you to think of something that happened to you as a child. I'm here to tell you that moment is proof. Proof that you were selected from birth, even if it may have been something minor and unimportant at the time. This early recollection is not merely a chance occurrence. Rather, it is a symbol of your spiritual development and your choose for something bigger. Whether you can still clearly recall it or not, that moment was a heavenly sign that your journey was already in motion. You are going to discover the more profound reality of who you are and why you have always felt different, because you are not like other people. Thus, pause and reflect, for what you remember may alter everything. Please pause this video and do 3 things before we go deeper into this life-changing message. Hit the like button, subscribe to help us achieve 5,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 55. The energy of this movie will be amplified by this quantity, which will send a strong signal to the universe. And keep in mind that you will stick by me through everything if you are genuinely a chosen one. Your spirit already knows deep down that this is a message for you. Let's get started. Have you ever questioned why some of the most significant moments in your life seem to have been predestined? What if those instances weren't just coincidental? What if you were selected for something bigger than you could have ever dreamed of right from the start? Sometimes the experiences we experienced as youngsters hold the key to recognizing the purposeful masterpiece that life has woven together from seemingly random events. There have been indications of your higher calling since you can remember. These symptoms frequently appear as difficulties in childhood, epiphanies, or even extreme awareness of your surroundings. Looking back, we can see that nothing happened by chance. God had a magnificent plan for you long before you were even born, and it includes the difficulties you encountered, the people who trusted you, and the dreams that appeared to speak straight to your soul. In actuality, you were picked. It was divinely designed, not by accident. You are capable of doing something exceptional that God has been preparing you for. You'll start to realize the significance of your early life experiences and how they were establishing the groundwork for your divine mission as we go through these signals. Accept this reality with open arms. You are a selected vessel, destined for greatness from the start, not just a person going about their daily life. Consider a particular instance from your early years that comes to mind. Perhaps you felt different from other people because of a hardship, misfortune, or even an unexplainable incident. At the time, it might have appeared to be simply another challenging situation. But in retrospect, it's evident that this was one of the first indications that you were selected for something bigger. These events are more than just recollections of your early years. They are evidence that God was guiding you toward your future from a young age. For instance, you might have experienced a challenging upbringing and frequently felt isolated or misinterpreted, but you managed to find a strength within yourself that others seemed to lack. Perhaps you conquered personal anxieties that many people never had to face, or perhaps you defended someone who was unable to defend himself. These experiences weren't chance. They were God's method of molding your character and fortitude. They were the initial phases of getting ready for your bigger goal. These early experiences serve as a reminder that life was never intended to be easy. There was always going to be meaning in your life. The difficulties you overcame contributed to the development of your wisdom, compassion, and strength, all qualities necessary for the mission you have been called to. Therefore, when you reflect on these times, see them for what they are: evidence that you were selected long before you realized how significant it was. This is your moment. Hit subscribe now and step into something greater. Don't miss out. Throughout your early years, the indications of your divine mission are strewn about, concealed in the routine events that might have appeared unimportant at the time. You might have been pulled to particular objects or people as a child in ways that seemed out of your control. Perhaps you were naturally drawn to assisting others, or perhaps you understood how to console a friend in pain. In reality, these seemingly insignificant acts were a part of a much bigger scheme that had been put into motion a long time ago. Take, for instance, the moments when you experienced intense empathy or sensitivity for other people. You may have stayed up late as a child, worried about a friend or relative, or perhaps had an inexplicable sense of worldly grief. These times were heavenly nudges that matched your goal, not just emotional reactions. God was preparing you to change the lives of others around you by sowing the seeds of compassion, understanding, and love deep inside you. You could start to recognize how God shaped your character if you think back on these instances. Every ostensibly insignificant occurrence was a component of a greater divine plan, intended to lead you to your actual purpose. You can gain a deeper understanding of your purpose and the significant influence your early experiences had in preparing you for the future by identifying these indicators. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart, declares God in Jeremiah 1:5. This is not merely a consoling word, it is a profound statement of your divine destiny. God had already established a plan for your life long before you were born. It was a plan full of meaning, purpose, and a unique calling. In actuality, you were picked for a task that only you could perform. You were not born into this world by accident. Jeremiah is not the only one who thinks about being picked. Actually, it's a recurring subject in the Bible. From Jesus' journey to Moses' summons, God never wastes a moment in our life and always has purposeful plans for His people. Every event and every detail contributes to His overall plan. You were called before you were even born to carry out a mission that only you can finish, much like the great biblical figures. If it seems like your life has taken many unexpected turns, keep in mind that they are not detours. Rather, they are a necessary part of the path that God has already planned for you. Have faith in the process, because the plan He has for you is much bigger than you can ever dream. You were selected, and His plan for you is already taking shape in ways you might not even be aware of yet. You may have had greater difficulties as a child than your classmates. Perhaps you had to mature more quickly than others, or you faced challenges that didn't seem fair. However, these challenges weren't meant to shatter you. Rather, they were instruments in God's hands that helped you become a more resilient and powerful person. If you look closely, you'll find that every obstacle you faced, whether they were academic, familial, or personal, has been used to better prepare you for the future. It's been said that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But for God's chosen ones, these difficulties purify you rather than merely make you stronger. Your challenges were God's method of putting your character to the test, strengthening your faith, and shaping you into a person capable of handling the enormous responsibilities that lie ahead. Even though you might have felt isolated during these periods, realize that God was always with you and was using them to mold you into the person you were meant to be. In actuality, God permits difficulties in His chosen one's life because He is confident in their ability to overcome them. He never gives you more than you can handle, and every hardship you encounter is a chance to develop and become closer to His plan for your life. These challenges were designed to help you grow, not to bring you down. Although life's obstacles can be the most agonizing, they also help people become more resilient in ways that nothing else can. God frequently teaches us endurance, patience, and perseverance through challenging circumstances from an early age. When you reflect on your early hardships, keep in mind that they were a necessary part of God's plan to give you the strength you would need to fulfill your divine mission. For instance, you might have been rejected or failed as a child. Although it was extremely painful, those events helped you become a more resilient adult. You were developing resilience when you realized that failing was just a part of the process and not the end. No matter how many times we fail, God utilizes these experiences to teach us how to get back up after failing. Even though these early hardships might have seemed insurmountable at the time, they served as stepping stones for your future. You will use the power you gained from these difficulties in ways you cannot yet fathom. Have faith that God is preparing you for the greatness He has in store for you by using your history. You might have had more vivid and significant dreams as a youngster than the typical dreams that most people have. These were supernatural messages pointing you in the direction of your destiny, not merely arbitrary pictures or passing ideas. A window into the future, prophetic dreams frequently provide hints of what is to come. It's possible that God was speaking to you directly in your dreams, providing you with insight into your spiritual purpose if those dreams felt too genuine to ignore. Maybe you experience recurrent nightmares about particular people, locations, or events that eventually happened. Or perhaps you dreamed of a time in the future when you were accomplishing something important. These dreams were not just fantasies. They were hints of what God has in store for your future. He is communicating with you through visions that will come to pass in due time, just as He did with prophets and leaders throughout the Bible through dreams. These foretelling dreams are not to be disregarded. Rather, they are a crucial component of your path, providing direction and clarity when you need it most. Dreams are God's way of preparing you for the amazing destiny He has for you. So if you've ever had dreams that appear to have a deep meaning, take them carefully. A prophetic dream is not your typical dream. Rather, it is God's voice communicating with you personally. These dreams are intended to support, encourage, and validate you as you proceed. Even though you might not fully comprehend them at the time, you will eventually see how they relate to the plan God has for your life. Take the biblical figure of Joseph, who as a youngster saw dreams that predicted his grandeur in the future. Although his dreams were viewed with suspicion and even mockery, they were an indisputable aspect of his path. Similar to this, even if your dreams don't always make sense at first, they are indicators that you are getting ready for something bigger. These visions are God's way of showing you the way He has planned for you. Don't disregard dreams that seem particularly important to you. Spend some time considering their potential meaning and how they fit with your deepest desires. Have faith that God is using these dreams to guide you toward your divine destiny. Do you possess a special talent for relating to kids or animals in ways that others don't? Perhaps you have always been attracted to animals, or perhaps disturbed kids come to you for solace when they are upset. This unique bond is not a coincidence. Rather, it is an indication that you are called by God to care for, protect, and nurture the weak. Your capacity to console others is a manifestation of God's love, permeating your being and attracting both humans and animals to your kind heart. Think of the tale of Saint Francis of Assisi, who possessed an extraordinary affinity for animals. His ministry was distinguished by his profound empathy for all living things. In a similar vein, your capacity to empathize with people in need is an indication that you are getting ready for a life of service in which your empathy will be a source of healing for countless people. These relationships with animals and problematic kids are heavenly appointments rather than random occurrences. These connections are a part of the greater plan that God has for you, and He has given you a spirit of consolation and compassion. Accept this gift and recognize it as an indication of your larger purpose. There are persons in the world who are born with the capacity to make others feel at ease. A simple remark, a reassuring touch, or simply being there can quiet a room, and you might be one of those people. This gift is a reflection of God's peace-filled spirit within you and is not an accident. It's obvious that you were chosen to cure the broken-hearted if people frequently come to you for solace during trying times. The Bible demonstrates the strength of God's peace, which defies comprehension and can mend even the most severe wounds. This same peace has been entrusted to you as a God-chosen person, and it flows through you to others in ways that offer hope and repair. Even while you might not always be aware of your influence, know that you have the ability to bring God's peace into any circumstance. One of God's greatest gifts is the spirit of consolation you carry. It's an indication that you were selected for a unique mission to comfort, heal, and offer peace to a world in need. Accept this calling since it is an important aspect of the divine plan that is being fulfilled in your life. Did you ever experience an intense sensitivity to truth and dishonesty as a child? You might have a strong sense of right and wrong, or you might be able to spot deception in others. This increased sensitivity is an indication of your heavenly destiny rather than merely a personality characteristic. God has given you a strong sense of integrity that will enable you to uphold His truth under any situation. You can live a clear life and make choices that are in accordance with God's will thanks to this gift of discernment. It is an indication that you have been selected to be a leader, someone who upholds justice and truth in a society that frequently compromises on both. Your capacity to recognize lies and defend the moral high ground will be a great advantage as you pursue your vocation, whether in your personal life or in the larger society. The divine plan includes this sensitivity. God has given you the ability to be a lighthouse in the dark, to speak up when others are silent, and to assist in guiding people toward the truth. God has given you an unwavering sense of truth that is unaffected by the shifting norms of the outside world. One of the most obvious indications of your divine calling is your integrity-based inner compass. You have a strong sense of what is good and moral, while others could be influenced by peer pressure or the demands of the moment. This unwavering dedication to the truth is a characteristic of God's chosen people. The most significant leaders and agents of change throughout history were those who remained steadfast in their dedication to the truth. The world was altered by individuals who refused to compromise their beliefs, such as Mother Teresa and Martin Luther King Jr. In the same way, your unflinching sense of truth is a strength rather than a weakness. It enables you to guide others toward God's holy path and to persevere in the face of hardship. Have faith that God has given you this inner standard of truth, which will help you overcome life's obstacles and accomplish the mission He has for you. Know that your dedication to the truth will always lead you in the correct direction, even when it appears impossible to stand by yourself. You may have discovered early on that you are trusted with responsibilities. Your friends, parents, and teachers all look to you to do tasks. God's readiness for leadership is demonstrated by this feeling of accountability. People perceive you as having the capacity to manage assignments, assume leadership roles when necessary, and guarantee that tasks are carried out properly and efficiently. Remember that these instances of trust were not coincidental as you think back on them. God was preparing you for a leadership role in the future, one in which you would be asked to assume even more responsibility. People's trust in you was a reflection of the traits you were growing into, traits that would help you achieve your higher purpose. Know that God was training you for leadership if you have ever had a sense of responsibility that was beyond your years. The divine purpose He has for you includes the capacity to manage, motivate, and lead people. As you fulfill your calling, this capacity will become even more apparent. Serving others and making decisions that will affect the future are two aspects of leadership that go beyond simple personnel management. Even if you weren't aware of it at the time, God has been preparing you for this kind of responsibility since you were a young child. Each of these experiences, whether it was being given significant responsibilities or being put in charge of situations, was God's method of preparing you for a life of leadership and service. Making choices that are in line with God's will and utilizing your influence to help others realize their full potential are the hallmarks of true leadership, not power. Every responsibility you've held throughout your life has served as a stepping stone, preparing you for a more significant role in God's kingdom. God has selected you for something remarkable if you have always been a natural at taking on leadership duties, even at an early age. Accept the accountability that this calling entails, knowing that He has prepared you for every turn. This is your moment. Hit subscribe now and step into something greater. Don't miss out. It's simple to question your purpose, particularly when the future appears unclear. But remember that you have been selected. Every event in your life has been a part of the plan that God established before you were ever born, and He has been setting you up for greatness from the beginning. Believe that God will lead you every step of the way as you confidently embrace your calling. Even while your path won't always be straightforward, it will always have purpose. Put your faith in God's plan and know that He is with you, helping you to fulfill the amazing purpose He has for you. Even if the journey is lengthy, the end result is worthwhile. As you pursue the calling that God has put on your heart, continue to walk in faith and have faith that the divine plan for your life will come to pass. There's a reason why God picked you. Have faith in that fact and proceed with assurance into the destiny He has planned for you. Have you ever questioned why you're here, or why you've gone through things that, although difficult at the time, now make sense? In actuality, you were made for a reason. Your entire life has been a part of a divine plan that was painstakingly created by a loving Creator. God has had a plan for you from the day you were born, and it is much bigger than you could have ever dreamed. Your life has a special and potent purpose that has been divinely orchestrated. It is not haphazard. Everything that has happened to you, from your early years to your maturity, has been a step toward achieving that goal. The challenging times were meant to help you grow as a person and fortify your resolve and character, not to shatter you. God's design included the pleasures, the hardships, the friendships, and even the heartbreaks. On the canvas of your life, every experience is like a brushstroke that creates a painting that displays His splendor. It's simple to become engrossed in life's daily activities and lose sight of the greater picture. But stop and think for a moment. Can you see God's hand guiding you when you look back? Have you noticed how the seemingly unrelated elements come together to create a lovely narrative? That is the divine plan in action. It's God's fingerprint on your life, letting you know that you have a bigger purpose than you may have thought. Your existence has purpose and is not a mistake. Every step of your life is guiding you to fulfill your purpose, and you have been a part of God's perfect plan from the beginning. Accept the fact that greatness was intended for your life. You will witness God's purpose come to pass in amazing ways the more you align yourself with His plan. Have you ever questioned why you encountered certain challenges in your life? At the time, the suffering, difficulties, and conflicts seemed insurmountable, but now you see that they served a higher good. Although struggles are sometimes seen as setbacks, they are actually some of God's most effective ways to get you ready for the future. They help you develop the strength, resilience, and wisdom you need to follow the path that has been set out for you. Challenges are not meant to hurt us. Rather, they are meant to shape us. Consider how a blacksmith uses pressure and heat to shape iron. Similar to this, our hardships help us grow as people and get ready for the roles that God has planned for us. We wouldn't acquire the fortitude and tenacity required to guide, uplift, and assist people in the manners that God desires if we didn't encounter challenges. Every hardship you have encountered has served as a teaching moment and a chapter in your life that has helped you become a stronger, more purposeful person. These hardships, whether they were emotional, familial, or personal, have given you the strength and insight you currently possess. Amazingly, the things that previously broke you are now the ones that strengthen you, increase your compassion, and prepare you to carry out your divine vocation. As you encounter new difficulties, keep in mind that they are chances for personal development rather than barriers. Accept every challenge with the knowledge that it is helping you become ready for the next phase of your path. No experience is ever wasted by God, and every hardship you have encountered serves as a prelude to the bigger picture He has in store for you. How often have you had a dream that seemed to linger in your mind long after you woke up? A dream that seemed more like a vision, a message, or a window into an unrealized future. These are not only chance events. Prophetic dreams are God's direct communication with you, offering understanding, guidance, and clarity for the course He is guiding you. Be aware that your dreams might be a part of your spiritual calling if they have been too intense or meaningful to ignore. During the time of the Bible, God communicated with His people through dreams. Dreams containing heavenly messages were crucial to the mission and purpose of individuals such as Solomon, Daniel, and Joseph. God continues to communicate with His people through dreams today. God might be attempting to tell you something about your future if you've ever woken up from a dream feeling profoundly inspired or affected. Prophetic dreams are beautiful because they provide calm and clarity during uncertain times. God may use a dream to guide you if you've ever struggled with a choice or a turning point in your life. A profound sense of knowing and inner serenity that reassures you that you are headed in the right direction are frequently present in these dreams. You may discover that a new feeling of purpose has been sparked within you, or that your perspective on a problem has changed when you wake up. Don't write off your dreams as mental delusions. Consider their significance and treat them with seriousness. God speaks from the heart, and when He does so through dreams, He frequently shares significant information about your purpose and the future He has in store for you. Be receptive to these signals and have faith that God is leading you at every turn. Each of us is born with special talents, gifts, and qualities that define who we are and make us stand out. These blessings are a part of God's divine design for your life. They are not an accident.